Welcome everyone with another live No Oracle Masterclass session. I hope all are safe. If I'm audible, type yes in the chat. If you are new here, type your name and city. And if you are old, type Oracle in the chat. If you are new here, type your name and city. And if you are old, please type Oracle in the chat. Yeah. So let's start. My name is Ritesh Shinde and I am the digital marketing executive at CLT Consulting and No Oracle. No Oracle is specialized Oracle blog was formed in 2007 and 10k plus Oracle community at all platforms. Today we have Mr. Amit Bhatnagar, delivery and practice head at CLT Consulting, who will be sharing his knowledge with us. Today's topic is all about Oracle Cloud approvals. So please like, share, and subscribe for Oracle Cloud approvals. If you have any question, please type in the chat box. This question will be taken up at the free time and at the end. So let's welcome Mr. Amit Bhatnagar.
Hey all, how are you doing? Hope everybody is safe and well at your place. Today we will be discussing about approvals in Oracle Cloud. However, for last two sessions we were extensively working on Oracle reports, and there were some glitches due to data volume, and this is because we are using Oracle demo instance. We can't use client instance for sure due to NDA, and we were using Oracle demo instances, and you all know probably that Oracle demo instance, which is available, same instance is available for many customers, and I mean huge volume of users are using that, and hence the data is also very huge. And once you create any report, any data set for the same date and parameters, it could fetch say thousand lakhs and even millions of records, because everybody is using, and probably if they are from some demo or some session, they would be having similar set of data, and they would be uploading NGL and other modules, and hence we have for same date we have huge data. So that was happening with us, and I tried to work on that also just before the demo started today. So let us see how we can uh, complete a report. I have already created the data set and everything. So let me just show you the report. I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know once you are able to see that. So you can type in your chat window when you are able to see the screen. So good. We have mixed crowd here today. We have many from Cloud ERP, some from Oracle EBS, some from PeopleSoft. Okay, sure. So I got the response that uh, you are able to see my screen. So here is one data set which I have already created for you guys. So let us see the data for it. I hope everybody remembers what we did in the last sessions. We used to create OTBI reports through subject areas. We created BI publisher reports by creating data model, and after creating the data model, we created report and other things. So I have got the data model created already. Now, to restrict the data, I'm giving a small window of data. So I'm giving the data for 5 days only, and let us first see. However, in this case, if you give any day range of data, since you are fetching only 5 records here, you can see here you are fetching only 5 records here, so it would anyway give you data. So if you see the data here and you don't see the same, or I mean same amount of data rather in your report, and your report gives you error that you have got exceeded the data limit, then I mean you don't have to worry about that, because anyway you are fetching the data here. But the only catch is you are only fetching 5 rows here. So now I can see my data here, and what I am doing is, as I told you guys, two things I need to do. I need to click on save as sample data. So it says saved as sample data, so my sample data is saved. Now I can go and create my report. And the other thing, if I want to create a custom layout of this report, then I have to click on export, and then on the basis of that XML file I have to create my custom template and upload that. So let us do that exercise. Now I have got this, and I have to do something in Excel to load that data. So let me just share with you the Excel as well. Okay, Joginapali, if a screen is blurred, probably that is because of your data connection. Uh, most of the other guys are able to see my screen. Yeah, so I'm getting the response that most of them are able to see my screen. Okay, so now I am on the Excel sheet. I would just load the data. So this was the data I need to load, and here if I click on field, it says metadata sheet will be created. Click on OK. So there is one sheet which has been created, and now I have to put whatever fields I want to pick in this. So let us say I want to have batch number. Before I do that, give me a moment. So yeah, so from here I will be keeping the fields. So batch number is here. Then in the next field I am saying, and then I am putting say GL date, and then I'm putting something like company, and then account, and then DR and CR. At this moment I am taking only these records. Okay, so first is amount CR, then amount DR, then I've got I have got batch number, I think. Yeah. So and GL date. Now if I click here, I have to give, these are the column names basically. And if you click here, then rather it is creation date. We had taken creation date in our query. Then we have got then we have got, okay, so this is company and then account. So this is company and this is account. Actual account we can say here, and this is amount here and amount here. So this is what we have got. Now what I am doing is I am doing a little bit of formatting here. Let's say this, and say this. Now what I am doing is, see, the date format is too big, which I don't want to show on my data. I would probably wish to show only till this point. So I would remove this. Okay. So this is how I do that. I would do a little bit of formatting here, and as I told you, I would click here and go to formula name range, and then I would give a range of grouping. So what was my grouping for that? If you remember, xdo underscore, I need to see what is there in my, what is the group name in my XML file. So give me a moment here. In the meantime, you, if you have any questions, you can type in, and I would be happy to answer your questions. So my group name is G underscore one, and here it is what I have done. Okay, so I closed it, and this is a data template I am going to save. If you remember, I told you that this is to be saved as .xls rather than any other format. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can type in. So, okay, I have saved my custom layout. Okay, now the second step would be to load it to the system and see if that works for the report. Now I can click on the report, create report here, and it will directly take me to the report page. Now either I can go for the standard layout which we have already seen, but still if somebody is new, I will show how we go for the standard template. I click on next, then I select the layout, the orientation. So I am not changing it. So based on my data set, it will populate the available fields here, and I will choose from those fields. So let us say I need to take, say, batch number here, and I'm taking, say, journal, and then I'm taking, say, company code here, GL account. However, I have many fields, but I'm taking only a few which are relevant for me at this moment. And then I take, let's say, GL date, GL date, and then I take amount there and amount here. This is what at this moment I am taking. I'm not taking more. Yeah, so I'm good to go with this. Click on next, and you can click on finish. Now this is what I had created earlier. Now I'm creating a new one. Okay, creating and saving in custom folder of shared folder, and then I do not have any data in this. Can anybody answer why I do not have data in this? Any idea why I did not get data in my GL balance report new? Is there anything which I need to do in order to get the data? You might have seen that we had got data in the data model, but here we did not get any data. Any idea what is could be the reason? Data model is not active. No, Ajoy, it is not the reason, because on the basis of data model only we have created this report. So there is nothing like we need to make data model active or something. Rajkumar is saying we do not have group name. Sandeep is saying we have not saved it. Rajkumar is saying you have not started the group name. Okay, Biju, no problem. Yeah, so I got my answer from Mohan. Right period or data range. We ran this report, but there is nothing we had selected in date range. That is why there is no data. So while running the report, wait, the other option or workaround could have been we could have provided some default value to this. Then in that case, it would fetch data at least for some date. We have not given any default date, that is why it did not fetch any data for us. Here you are with the data for the parameters we have given in this report. This is the default output. Now if you say even for 5 days of data, we are getting 816 pages. So you can assume that how much data is there in the system for these dates. So let's say last time what we tried, we tried to give date range for in fact we were not having date range last time because it was employee data. So we were looking for the data for one business unit. So even for one business unit also, the data is too huge, because everybody is loading data, they are practicing, and they are loading the same data in the same business unit time and again, and there are n number of users. So that is how the data volume is too huge. Any questions so far? So so far you have seen how we created report based on BI Publisher. I'll very quickly take you to today's topic. If we have created a custom data model or rather custom template, then in place of this template, that particular custom template would take place, and the data would be present in that custom template. So I have already shown you how to create a custom layout last time. Let me just give a try whether we can load and see the data in that format. So I'll click on edit layout. Here this is the default layout which is going to come, because so far we have not uploaded any custom layout. So whatever is seeded would be shown here. Yeah, so we can make changes in this as well, and if we want altogether new template, that also we can change. So If you want, you can select from here also, and make the changes. Like if you want this to be like, say, if you want to change the font, you want to change the font size, if you want to highlight something, you can do all those things. If you want to have like data format, it is right now none. If you want like number or currency to be precise, you can have this. So all these changes you can make in the default template itself. That is one thing. And the other way you can do is, you can click on edit report and click on view a list. Here you can have another template loaded. Say, so this is the Excel template I had given, yes, custom. And then I give the template type, I give the range here, and then the language I select for this, and I click on upload. So now I have got two templates here. What I can do is, when I run the report, it should pick this and show the output. And I click on save. This is the default layout for my report. Then I click on parameters. Okay, and default value, let's say 01, 01, 2020. Let's say 02, 0, I'll keep it for one day only. And then I click on save, and I will click on view report here. There is issue with this template. I'll take this thing maybe next time, but at this moment I would like to start with Oracle approvals because it might take some time, and I have scheduled this for today. I'm sharing my screen for approvals. So give me a moment to start. Yeah, so let me start with Oracle Cloud approval. So first of all, what do you understand by approval in general terms? Please type in your answer in the comment box, and then I will take ahead the session. Yeah, so what do you understand with approvals in general terms? Yeah, do let me know your thought on that. Yeah, so Rajkumar, I got your answer. Either we can have the default or NVL in the query itself. Yes, that is very true for the reports. In case there is nothing in the parameters, or probably even in the parameters itself, where we define, we can give a default value. Yeah, so I'm waiting for your answer on what do you understand by approvals. Yeah, so Subramanian is saying that approval is the process based on hierarchy. Yes, that is true. So Jogini Palli is saying that yeah, it is permission. That's also true. Permission for further proceedings, true, and give privileges to how level employee by to low level employees by super user. Ravi, I would not agree much on this because it does not matter whether somebody is on a lower level or not. It depends on how it fits in your criteria, basically. So let me go through the presentation itself first. So these are the contents for today's session. What is approval? We discussed a bit of it. What are the advantages of approvals? How BPM approval works in Oracle? Components of approval, the setup process in Oracle Cloud Approval, transaction flow. So as we talked about what is approval, so of course we have got many answers, like it is a consent, or it is a kind of permission, it is kind of authorization which is provided to somebody to carry out certain activity, and in a specific and standard way to carry out things. That could be in business terms, uh, that could be for raising an invoice, a purchase requisition. Let's say if we are in an organization where if you are buying anything for your own medical thing, you can raise a request for, let's say, 1000 rupees a month. So that is something which you are allowed to do. Above that, if you expand, then you probably may need to have some approval or some consent from your authorities. So this is what is approval in general terms. So approval may take the form of certification, licensing, or registration, and in some cases, as I talked about, like if you are in some organization, you are allowed to spend say 2000 or 5000 on your IVR for a quarter. So that is also a kind of approval, that you are approved to spend on that. So if you go beyond that, that could be in case of leave travel. There are a lot of scenarios where approval can come into picture. So the basic proposition is that you need to have some authorization to perform a certain set of activities. That is basically the approval is. What are the advantages of approval management? So approval management basically is I mean, it is required to manage all the activities which you want to be in controlled way, and it automates your processes. It offers you flexibility to go mobile. In today's world, we have almost all the things on mobile. So if you are in an organization, you can raise your claims from your mobile. So all these things are part of your mobile access and related to approvals. Efficient approval workflow tracking, yes. So when we talk about approval workflow tracking, that is also one very important part of approval management system, because if you are unable to track where your approver, or where your requisition is, then it is very difficult to manage how it is being approved and all those things. So once I raise some request, it goes to somebody, and if somebody is only how to manage all those. So the tracking is very much required, of course. So we have got process transparency. So based on the corporate policies, we define certain approvals, like based on certain designations or roles, you are allowed to perform certain activities. It could be through your own expenditure and then raising the claim. It could be for raising the claim for the organization. It could be creating some sort of documents. It could be creating some sort of um, employment. It could be related to your termination of employment. So there are a lot of business case scenarios where approval comes into picture, and it needs transparency. So a well defined approval management system caters to that. Then you have got ad hoc approvals, where as I was talking that if I have let's say raised approval, or a document request for invoice, or probably purchase requisition, and the approver is on leave for say 10 days. So how the approval management system should treat that? So there should be a provision to introduce somebody as an ad hoc approver, and that person should be able to approve that, so that the process is not stopped. Then yes, of course, it brings in a lot of convenience to your processes. um, as we saw that you can have it through mobile, you can do it on the go, and there are many other things like vacation rules and many other things you can achieve through a well defined and efficient approval management system. So when we talk about how BPM or Oracle Cloud approval works, so before that, I would like to know how many of you are coming from EBS background and know um, Oracle approvals. Please type in your background, like if you are coming from EBS background, and what do you know about approvals. Like if you are aware of AME, you can type yes, AME, or any other ERP. If you are coming from, then you can type yes, this ERP and this approver. Yeah, okay. So Subramanian is from EBS background, and probably I assume that you understand AME. Yeah. So AME was approval management engine in Oracle R12 or EBS. Rajkumar also knows about AME approvals. Yes. Pratyusha Anti is also aware of Oracle EBS, I think. Approval management engine. Yeah, Subramanian. True, Rajkumar. Yes, it is an engine which is catering to Oracle approval management in e-business suite. So probably all the questions are coming when I have already answered those AME and E business suite. Yeah. So yes, Sandeep, uh, we have got that. Okay, so let me go ahead with this. Yeah, so it is a very highly and extensible approval rules engine. It was there in EBS as well, and I mean in cloud also it has become more flexible, and it has got more processes which have come into this. So Oracle BPM worklist is one core functionality in this, and based on that only where we create the approvals in Oracle Fusion or Oracle Cloud. So a central repository, yes, it holds all the users to facilitate management and sharing between business processes, though it caters to different modules, yet it is centralized and very well connected. I mean, at the same place you have got approvals for each and every module. However, there are different ways also. I mean, you have got flexibility. The transaction is initiated for approval based on a condition and rules, and certain actions are carried out, like in case of say raising an invoice, purchase requisition, or if I am into HCM, probably I would be raising a request to hire an employee. That could also require some approvals. Yeah, so approval is based on SOA suite in Oracle Cloud. The human workflow service is responsible. When we talk about human workflow service, so we define some set of rules and conditions, and human workflow caters to the users and people created in HCM basically. So it is responsible for handling all interactions with users or group of users participating in the business process. Components of BPM in Oracle Cloud. So before I get onto that, I would like to know, what do you know about BPM? Yes, I got, yeah, business process management, Joginipalli. That is true. So that is what we call approvals in Oracle Cloud, business process management. Yeah, so in the meantime, let me go ahead. We would be having a demo also on this. So the components of BPM in Oracle Cloud, as I talked about Oracle BPM worklist. So it is basically a web-based application that lets user access tasks assigned to them and perform actions based on their roles in the approval process. So we'll see all those things. However, these are some terminology which we will be using. So that is why I'm taking you through all these. Oracle BPM worklist supports the following profiles. So work assignees. So what are work assignees? Work assignees are basically when you have, I mean, somebody has assigned some work to you. So you are you become work assignee in that case. You are not owner of that process or work. You have been assigned that work. So let's say um, I am from purchasing department, and I have I have raised certain requisition to buy a laptop for me. So on behalf of me, somebody would create a purchase requisition, purchase order, and uh, then in the payables department, somebody would create an invoice based on that purchase order. So all those become my work assignee. Then process owner. If you are a process owner, you owns that process basically. So from the initiation until the end, you are the owner of that process. And the third one is workflow administrator. Workflow administrator is the person who administer the workflow, and he has got the superpower for that workflow. In fact, if somebody is a workflow administrator, that person can do whatever they want in that particular workflow, in that particular scenario. So they have end to end authority and responsibility as well. Then we have got task. It is a business process which requires approval. As we were talking about approvals, so whatever that requires a business approval becomes a task in BPM language. Then we have got list builders. List builders are nothing but part of that approval process. So that could be one person, that could be a job, that could be a position, that could be a group of person. So it all depends on our condition. There are several list builders like approval groups. Then we have job level, as I talked about. Position we could have supervisory, we could have management chain, and a group of users, a specific person. All these are list builders. Then we have task operation. So each task is expected to go through a process. Once purchase requisition is initiated, it should perform some actions, it should go through some actions. So there could be some user defined outcomes like approve, reject, delegate, escalate, reassign, request for more information. At certain point it could be withdraw, it could be pushback, that allows the task approver to push back the task to previous approver. So that if let's say some workflow notification comes to me and I am the second approver or third approver, and I see that there is some discrepancy uh, for that particular process, or I want to let's say stop that process. So I could push back to the previous approver to review it again. So all these things, ad hoc insertions, as I talked about, if somebody is not available uh, as a workflow administrator, I could bring in somebody else and get the process done. So all these things are task operations. Now, how do we set up the BPM in Oracle Cloud? So better to talk about it. I would rather take you to the instance and show how it is done. Hope you guys are having fun with this Oracle approval. If you are coming from EBS background, of course, you might have seen the AME. The case and scenarios look similar. However, how we set up in Oracle Cloud is totally different from Oracle EBS. So it would be an interesting thing to go through. In the meantime, you can post in your queries, your comments. Shiv, please take through the questions.
I think I'm on backstage, right?
Yeah, yeah, you are on.
Okay, great. So, friends, Shiv here. We can just give a break to Amit. It's almost he's speaking for almost 50 minutes. So, just to give him a break for a 2 minute for a water, and I can take some question in between. Whether you like to ask about reporting or workflow, Oracle in general, or anything that you like to discuss, I can quickly share my opinion and thoughts on that. So, meantime, Amit is just taking a break, and I'm the one who keep answering your messages in YouTube chat. So when Amit is speaking, I'm working behind the scene in backstage. So I'm typing those questions and answering your thoughts. And I hope you finding this masterclass series useful. So please go and share all our past videos among your friends, professional colleagues. If you want, you can go revise that also. And we have our next sessions on next Tuesday. So every Tuesday and Friday we are doing this kind of sessions, 7:30 p.m. India time. So if you find this useful, you can subscribe to our channel, you can join our blog and email list, so you can get emails, messages, and notifications to join our upcoming events. So let me see if we have any questions so far. Okay. Okay, so Jogin is asking, is security console we have BPM in what is the question? In security console we have BPM in cloud financials. We have BPM in so security console is different and BPM is different. Both are different. BPM is more like again is a centralized thing, but it's basically a separate product itself, and security console is altogether a separate product itself. Rajkumar is asking, yes, I have developed. Yep, that question I was asking. So great. So whosoever has done this technical development, you just think that you have to upgrade yourselves to learn BPM. All the technical aspect, all the business aspect, process aspect of all this BPM you need to learn, because you will be doing the similar task here. So Rajkumar, yes, great. Ajay, working on cloud project, great Ajay. So you can share your knowledge through messages, and I'm sure those will be very helpful. Okay, customer notification, how we can modify. So probably Amit will show how we can modify those notifications, because now Oracle allow to modify most of the notification. When I say most, means there are maybe some seeded workflow notification which may not be allowable, like system generated or exception related. But if it is client related or shows goes outside, or it has some business language to write up, those are allowed. Now we can modify those notification wordings and all. Can you provide instance to work on it? So Ravi, if you want to have access to, let's say, publicly accessible demo environment, then even through your organization, also through your email id, your official email id, you can also access. So we have one article recently published on our blog on how you can access these free environments that Oracle provide. You can go through that, or you can message me on personal WhatsApp, and I can suggest you how what you can do. So this is for everybody, that there are highly chance that you all have access to this public demo environment. Only thing, you may not be aware how you can access that. So we can help in that. And there is a good article we recently published on our blog. Our blog URL is no-oracle.com. So I'm just typing it, so you can go and review that, and you can sign up our email list also, so you will get all these latest articles in email as well. Okay, can you change notification content? I took that. Uh, Expense report. Yes, answer is yes. So we can, yes, we can change the expense report approvals content as well. Like we can add variables, we can add English verbiage or regular business verbiage, and additional information in those kind of things. So. These are some of question. So we have WhatsApp group. You can join our WhatsApp group, Telegram group, Facebook group. We have our Facebook group where we do Facebook live on every Saturday, 11:30 a.m. India time. So that is open forum. So you can ask any questions. So tomorrow we would be having session on around 11:30 time. So you feel free to join, and that we can have one-to-one discussion also. I myself
Hello.
do that. Yes, Ritesh.
Yes, sir. So right now we have 43 watching. So I have tasks for all of you.
Mhm.
So we are about to reach 1K. So please subscribe and share with your colleague, friends, and all Oracle community.
Great. So Ritesh is our, you can say, our marketing expert, and he's the one who do all our this backend work to make all of us to do this kind of session. So yes, so we are about to reach 1,000 subscribers. So good. So Ritesh reminded, and I encourage all of you to do two three things. One is definitely go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video also, right? If you finding this useful, all these efforts put by Ritesh and Amit, so go and like this video, share this with your friends, right? And definitely you are sharing your knowledge and opinion through comments. Share with your friends, and this will be auto recording, so that means you can go back and rewind this whole sessions, our past sessions, past videos. We have good amount of videos on different topics, so you can go and you will find useful. And obviously all these are just for you as a professional help. Okay, so Amit, if you are ready, we can continue. Let me know.
Yeah, we can go ahead. There is one question from Gajapati Ray, that can a demo be given, how to approve an expense report through BPM? Uh, at this moment, I mean, I have done the setup, because as I told you in the beginning that we use Oracle demo instance. So I have done the setup for Oracle payables approval. So I would be taking you through that. Yes, but if you want, and you guys request for a demo, then of course we can talk and take that up based on the availability and demand. So let me take you to the instance and go ahead with approval for invoices. Give me a moment to share my screen. Hope you are able to see my screen. Please type Y if you can, and I will go ahead with that. Yeah, so we would be taking a glimpse on how we set up approval for payable invoices, and then we'll take a couple of transactions to see how it works. Okay, so I got my answers. Yes, you are able to see my screen, and I'm going ahead with that. Okay, so before we do the setup, we first need to define what all conditions are there. And I would recommend as a best practice, before getting into the setup and maintenance part of any setup, to be precise, that has to be written down. Of course, as a professional, you would be using some documents, written documents, but as a consultant, I would suggest you to have that on a notepad, because that is where you get to refer first. So I have already done that. Let me show you how we do the setup part. So whatever we do for the setup in Oracle Cloud? We click on this, as you might be knowing so far, and we go to setup and maintenance. This is where we click. It takes us to the setup and maintenance page, where we have got different setups based on the subject area, like compensation management. We have got customer data management, and under compensation management or any other work area, we have got several other sub work areas as well. So we shall be going for financials. And here, as we were talking about payables invoice workflow, so I'm clicking on this payables here, and then I can type here in the search tasks approvals, or approval to be precise. So here I got four results out of it. So manage general approvals. So it clearly talks about the journal approval, and the functional area is general ledger. Similarly, this is for expense approval. So it is for expenses. This is for receivables, approval limits, and this is general application extension. So I will click on this, and when I click on this, I reach to this page, and there are a lot of processes here. However, to begin with the setup, I need to click on task configuration. By default, approval groups is selected. So I will click on task configuration, and here in the search box, I would type INV, and with the wildcard of asterisk, I would click on search. So here I have got Fin AP invoice approval here. I would click on this, and it would open the window for me to do my modifications. So to edit anything, I need to click this edit task first. I would click edit task, and here it is assignees basically. So to begin with the approval setup, you need to go to the assignees. These are the standard steps for any approval workflow to be set up. Now you can see a lot of work list here. However, if you are named for Oracle BPM, the best way to find out which approval or which BPM work list you need to edit or you need to work on, you need to look for this highlighted one. So if you see, only this and this is highlighted, others are kind of disabled. However, those are present, but those are not active. So here I would go and click on this invoice document. It is saying this is invoice document approvers. So I would click on this and click here to go to the rule. Now once you click on this, you don't have to bother about all these things. It directly takes you to the rules you have to modify here. So it says invoice approval rule set. It directly takes you to the rule set which is to be modified, and it is not only in the case of AP invoice approval, it is similar and same with each and every approval. Now what you need to do is, as you might be having some conditions. So let us say I have a condition. If anything is below $100, then it should be auto approved. If any invoice falls between 101 and $200, it should go to a particular user to approve. I could have different conditions, of course, but I am just giving you one example which I have taken. And in case it is more than 1000, then it should go to the manager. So these three conditions we are going to look at, and how do we set it up. So let us go for auto approve first. So we have given by default, normally auto approval and manage approval rule are already in place. Based on your condition, you can change them. So I also changed it. It was earlier less than 1000, whatever is there is to be auto approved. I have changed it to less than 100. And the invoice type, now let me show you one more thing which is very important. This is the rule name, and this is the if condition. If this happens, then do this. So let us see the if condition first. So what it says, if invoice header dot invoice amount is less than 100. Now you could have a different condition altogether. So click here and you would get a lot of conditions to be picked from. If you want, based on, let's say, who is the invoice creator, you could have some attribute on invoice distribution. You could have some attribute to pick from invoice header. So there are a lot of conditions which you can pick from. What is the resource type, what is the task, what is the task action which has been performed. So if I click on this invoice header, you have got further, there are a lot of attributes which you can pick from, like with what is the withholding tax amount. So based on all these conditions, you can create an if condition. So in this case, what I have done is I have picked the invoice header amount. So if it is below 100, then, and one more thing here, this is one condition, and if I want to create another condition, let's say, um, after the second condition I want to create another condition, so I will click here and I will select simple test. That means I am putting another condition here. So if I click simple test, see here another condition is created, and I can pick from here, let's say, invoice line, and then from invoice line, invoice amount probably, or any other condition which I want to pick. There are a lot of, even based on the descriptive flex field also. So you can have your own condition. So this is how we create any condition here. And there are a lot of things here, like is not comparison operators, more than, some or same or more than, less than, same or less than, between, in. So right now I am not doing this because I have already got two conditions for this. I am cutting it off. Now this was auto approved. So whatever is less than $100, and the invoice type is standard, it should be auto approved. So we were talking about if condition, and now we have got then. If that is there, then what is to be done? So it is to be, if you see here, auto approve rule, and auto action enabled is true. That means when it passes those conditions and it is true for those conditions, then auto action should be true and it is to be approved. We have written here, it is to be approved. Now we were having the second condition as well. Here we have the second condition. Give me a moment. Yeah, this is the custom rule which I have created today. So this is the second condition. Invoice header amount between 101 and 200, and the invoice type is standard, and business unit name is US1 business unit. So we could have different conditions. We could have cost center, we could have intercompany, we could have any other thing. Invoice date is this, invoice group is this. So we could have any conditions to be put here. So I have selected one, like if amount is this or between this, standard invoice is there, and business unit is US1 business unit, then it goes for approval. Okay. And if any one of these condition is not met, it should not go for approval. Okay. Now what I have written in the then condition, it is based on resource. Now let me show you what other options are there. Add approver. If you click on add approver, you have got approval group, job level. It is based on your job and levels, like let's say if you are say table clerk, then that is your job, then based on that hierarchy you would get approval. Then you have got position hierarchy, then you have got supervisor hierarchy, then you have got management chain hierarchy, let's say executive, senior executive kind of approval group you have created for management group. And then there is one thing called resource. Resource means you are directing it to a particular user or resource in the system. So for all these, as we talked about, those are human resources basically. So all these are human tasks and derived through human resources or human capital, you can say. So these are the two rules. Now let us see the third one. If it is more than 1000, same or more than 1000, and is a standard invoice, it should go through the supervisory hierarchy. How many levels? One level. That means if I am creating the invoice, then it should go to my supervisor and should go only to my supervisor and not beyond that. If we want, let's say, my supervisor and their supervisor, then it could be two, and so on. And here we choose starting participant. So if I click on this, here you can see task workflow submitter. That means the person who has submitted this task, this workflow should go to their supervisor. Here we have selected supervisory. So that is how we defined. And similarly, the top participant would be some user in the organization. Beyond that, it should not go. Like if we do not give any top participant, what could happen in one case, that there is no supervisor of that person, so workflow will go in end loop, where it does not know where to go ahead with. So we have to define one or other top participant. Beyond that, the workflow would not proceed and the system would not go into infinite loop, to be precise. So normally for any organization or any installation, to be precise, we give finance user 30, that is the implementation user or the end user or the administrator. So beyond that, it would not go. Okay, so this is our supervisory hierarchy and the manager role here. So now we have got three rules, where if something is beyond 100 and between 101 and 200, that should go to a particular user, Tim Lloyd. If it is below $100, then it should go to it should be auto approved. And in case it is beyond $1,000, then it should go to the manager of task submitter. Okay, so all these are the rules which we have set up. Now one more important thing here is there are some rules attribute as well. It is effective date, like if you click, you can give a range from and to, or it is always enabled, or it is effective always. What is the priority? Normally highest priority, based on your conditions you can give priorities. And then if you want at a certain time that this particular rule should not be invoked at this moment, so you can click on this active and uncheck this. Similarly, if you want to see the tree mode, if you want to see the advanced mode, all these things you can do through this. So this is how your rules look like. Please drop in your questions if you have any, then I will take you through other part of it. So we have talked about how do we create, or rather set up, the Oracle BPM. How do we take a task, how do we identify the task, and then how do we go to the assignees, and then we go ahead with. If you have any questions, you can please drop in your questions in the comment box. I would be happy to answer them. So there is one question from Dronawali Kalyani, that how to add custom attributes. Very good question. I will show you where we can add custom attributes. Is there a retry functionality? I did not get your question, Drona Wali. Where does user see that priority? So user do not see any priority. However, it is for system to prioritize the workflow basically. User do not have anything to do with priorities. So yeah, Gajapati Ray is asking what is approval group works. So good question, Gajapati. Approval group is basically when you have a group of people to approve certain transactions. So it could be I mean it is not dependent on any job or any position, any other thing. You want certain people in your organization to approve. So this is not limited to any job hierarchy or supervisory hierarchy or any other thing. You have certain people to form a group. In case, let's say, you have some consultants which are not having similar jobs, similar positions. They could be outside consultants also, but they are active in the organization and they are authorized to perform some approvals. So you can form a group of that. Okay, so I think we do not have more questions now. Let me take you through the transaction. So this is how we set up, and then after doing the setup, we have to click here on validate rules. This is the first thing we do to find out whether we have set it up correctly or not. So let me click on validate here. So it says no validation errors warnings found. So we had got one question from Drunavaliya. So let me show you where do we have the custom attributes. Let's say I have this rule and I want to have another rule based on custom condition. So based on all these actions, you or rather provided attributes, you can have your custom attribute as well. And if you want totally to be customized, then also what you can do is you can rather click on variable here. So based on the variable condition, you can have your custom attribute set. Okay, so I click on validate again. Yeah, so there is no error here. Once I have set it up and clicked on validate, I need to click on save here. It is kind of save, and then you need to do commit here. If you want to type some comments, you can type in for future references. If you want this particular condition is added on this date or something like that, that you can do. So after clicking on save, you need to click on commit button, and once you have saved and committed, then you can have the impact of this on your transactions. So here we are. Let me go to the payables. Now go to invoices. Now click on invoices. All these are tasks basically for invoice workbench. So I'm clicking on create invoice. So in the meantime, I would like to know what all three conditions are there which we have set up Please type in condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3 in the comment box and write those conditions so that we all are on the same page. If you all remember, we had done the setup for US1 business unit for the third condition. So let us do one thing. We take some other for our initial condition. US2 is not there, I think. Okay, so UK business unit is there. Where is that? UK business unit is there. Or probably because I am not sure whether we have done that for you this one or not. Let us first try with US1 business unit and yeah, so in the meantime I would say yeah, all the rules business requirements would yeah, Subramaniam is auto approve till USD 100. Very good, Subramanian. And then we will see the other two conditions as well. Please do type in the conditions. I also want to be reminded what all conditions are, otherwise I would create some other invoices. So allied manufacturing I am taking, and then I am typing in here invoice number, say 006, and I am saying this is of $60. I am taking it as below $100. Now click on save and go ahead to create a line for this, and here you can have the line. In the line you can give the amount as you have written 60, and then you need to select a combination for distribution. So let us say it has become a little slow as we talked about. This is a public environment and a lot of users work on this. Let us say short-term investment, and we go ahead with this. Now everything looks fine. Save. I would go for validate the invoice. Before this, I forgot to tell you one more thing that once you have done the setup in BPM, you need to enable the workflow as well. So you need to go to financials and then payables, and then you need to go for say invoice options, and here you need to go to approval and select the enable invoice approval. If you do not select it, your approval is not gonna work. With this you can optionally select allow force approval based on your requirement. If you do not have that requirement, you can deselect that. require validation before approval. That also is your condition. If you want to put, it is based on your accounting conditions, whether it wants record accounting to be done before approval, accounting to be done after approval. All these things are set up here. So here we are, we have got invoice to be revalidated. The amount has, there is some tax on this, so we have got 65.70, which has become the invoice amount. So let us put this and then save, and then we validate it. Now the invoice has been validated. We can post the accounting as well to be on the safer side. I don't remember what options we had selected, so yeah, okay. Then now I click on actions and go to approval. Here I click on initiate. Now in this case, since the amount is less than 100, it should be auto approved. Okay, when we say auto approved, let us see how the approval looks like for this. Now if I go to view approval and notification history, now what it says is invoice, yeah, so invoice approval is initiated and the approver is the user itself. We are the approver of this invoice. So click, click on done, and now save and close. We see how it looks like. Now if you see the workflow status, it says workflow approved, or approval status to be precise. So it says workflow approved. So our first condition which we had put is working fine, right? Now let us see the second condition in that case. Now, can somebody tell me what is the second condition? Please type in the chat window. Folks, I need your active participation. We are putting in efforts just to make you aware of something which you have worked upon or probably you have not worked upon. So that is gonna help you, and that is why you are here. So please actively participate in the session. Yeah, so the second condition I am looking for, once you tell me, I will create the invoice on the basis of the second condition. Yeah, so Milind is saying that yes, if the invoice amount is between 101 and 200, then it will be sent to resource. Yes, selected resource. And the resource name is uh, Tim Lloyd. Okay, so let me create an invoice. It is a little slow. Yeah, so it is from US Business Unit, US 1. Now let us say light manufacturing, and then I give, and here I give the amount as 102. So it is more than 101. I save it and create a line for this. Here it is for 102, and the combination I need to select is, hope you are finding it good for your knowledge. Let us say cash account. Okay, rest I would keep as it is, and I would save, and then I would validate it. Now I need to make adjustment of this tax amount, so that is what I need to put and revalidate it. Yeah, so the invoice is validated. Now I am posting it to the ledger. It is posted as well. Now I would go to approval and click on initiate. So it says that yes, my invoices. If I click on this view approval, and now you can see here the approval is initiated, and now since it was beyond my 101, it has gone to Tim Lloyd, which we had selected and set up in the user. You could have approval group in that case, and based on the approval group, it would go to that person. Now let us see. I've created a user Tim Lloyd. So, so Tim Lloyd has got notification. Here we get the notification basically. So here it is saying that action is required, approval of invoice number 007 from here. You can approve and reject. So once you click on approve, it would approve, and the status of that approval in HCM user it would change to approved. Acted upon, it says. And if we go here, okay, yeah, so this is the bell icon we were talking about. Here it is. You click on this and you would get the notification. Here it is saying that approved. Your invoice has been approved. If you click on this, then you would get that invoice status as approved. So if you click on this view approvals, so it says submitted by this person and approved by this person, right? Okay. Do you have any questions so far for me? Then we will go ahead with the last condition today, that is beyond 1000 USD. Do let me know if you have any questions in the comment box. Subramaniam, it could be network issue at your place, or probably, I mean, I checked at my site, it is working fine on YouTube as well. Do let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will go ahead with. I think the refresh rate is a little slower. Yeah, so we'll be talking about the last condition today, and then we'll wind up this session. So let us go to the payables and then the invoices. If I click on this and then I click on create invoices, somebody working on this environment has changed the look and feel of this environment. In the meantime, we were working and approving the invoices. The look and feel has been changed by some user. Okay, so let us take UK business unit. I have not tested that, but hope it works. If that does not work, we will stick to our US1 business unit. Alright. Okay, probably this vendor is not from UK business unit, so need to check which supplier belongs to this. So let us say A. Okay, so Amazon is there for UK business unit. Okay, now let's say 1001. This is what should be our invoice beyond 1000. Do let me know if you have any questions. Yes, there is one question from Z. I don't know your name, Z. It would be good if you type in your name as well. So, can the approver send back the invoice for correction, or he can only approve or reject? No, there is an option for send for more information that you can anyway go for. So it depends on how you have set up your approval workflow. If you want more options to be given to the approver, yes, you can, of course. But basically, what we have set up is approve or reject. So we click on this lines, click here. Folks, I would appreciate if you write your name in case your screen name is something which is unable to, you know, understand, unable to be understood. Okay, so let me save this. Let me see the questions in between if you have any. How about setting up vacation rules? Yes, we can set up vacation rules. There is option where since folks, in this small session of say 2 hours, it is very difficult to show you all the things in Oracle BPM. There are a lot of things which we can discuss and see. However, in session of say 1.5 and 2 hours, it is very difficult to show all of them. But let me tell you, yes, we can set the vacation rules. We can have the reassign notifications, as I talked about pushback, and there are a lot of things which we can do. If you would have seen my presentation, I talked about all those things. You can push back, you can ask for more information, uh, and many other things you can do with that. So you can outrightly reject. Okay, there is some issue with this accounting, I don't know. Let me see whether approval works for this or not. Hope we have not selected requires accounting before approval. Okay, so it says sorry, view approval and notification history. So yes, it says that it is initiated and somehow it is rejected. Workflow system. Let us see why. Give me a moment, guys. Hold for a moment, folks. I'm back, guys. Yeah. So let us create invoice for probably US business unit because I don't know whether for UK business unit we have done anything or not. Let me just take US business unit. Yeah, so here we are, and we take here we are. Yeah, I'm taking 1001. Sorry, yeah. So click on plus, and then yes, let us say cash. Okay, click on validate, and of course you would be required to yes change the amount from here based on the text it has calculated, and then save it and validate it again. Fine, so now we can see here it is required. You see the approval is required here because it is beyond 1000. So let us say post to ledger as we do as a practice, and then we go for the approval. Now whatever supervisor is set up for this particular user, it is gonna go to that particular user. So click on approval and then wait, click on approval and click on initiate. So it says Now let me take this invoice number to refer. So now let me again query that invoice. So the approver should be able to approve this once. So it is saying rejected. So give me a moment. Let me see what is causing it to be rejected. We have got AP invoice approval here, and then we click on assignees and we click on edit button, assignees, and then we go to the rule. Sorry. So this is the rule which is causing some issues. So what it says is invoice header amount is this, and the invoice type is standard. Then okay, let us do one thing. Probably it has not got any manager. Probably that could be one reason. I don't want to get into that. Let me delete this condition and put another condition with this action, rather, with the same approval. So let's say I put in resource and I put in some other team. So but if I put some other team, then we would not be able to see. Here it is. And I am not changing anything. Okay. Yeah, so there is no error. I'll save it. I would commit the task and we shall see the impact. Let me create another invoice with 1011. So you have seen two conditions working. One condition is getting rejected. Probably that is because this particular user is not. Yeah, so probably this particular user is not having any manager. So that is why it was rejecting. I did not see its hierarchy yet. Okay. You can have approval condition as like if you are having any PO matched invoice, then you could have different condition for that as well. Like if some invoice is created which is not a PO matched invoice, then whatever is the amount, it should be approved to approved by somebody or other. Similarly, if, let's say this is a PO matched invoice, then there should be this condition. If uh, let's say it is raised by somebody, then you can have a different condition as well. So all these things, all these combinations you can make while you define the approval conditions, and based on those conditions you can have either resource, either supervisory hierarchy, job hierarchy, approval groups, management chain of authority. Okay, save it. I would validate it. If you have any questions, you can drop in your questions and we'll be taking up those questions. We have already crossed 2 hours today as well. So yeah, do drop in your questions. It is taking a lot of time today. The system seems to be a little slow, rather instance, I would say. Click on validate. This invoice has the same supplier invoice date amount. Oh, okay. Yes, I want to continue with that. So this is again a good feature. Same supplier, same everything. It gives me a warning kind of thing that you have got invoice, whether it is duplicate or something. So this is again a good feature of Oracle Cloud. So click and I will click on initiate. So when I click on this, it's a bit slow, guys. So bear with me. So now it says it has been initiated. Now let me save and close and see the invoice again. I believe this was the invoice. Yes, so if you see here, it is initiated. Now, if I click on this and okay, so if you see here, now it has been assigned to Tim Lloyd. So the approval and the conditions are working fine. Only which I was suspecting probably is that this particular user does not have any manager. That is why it has been rejected, and we are having manager approval rule. We were trying to find out the manager of it. That is why it was rejecting. So guys, I am done with the demo and the presentation. If you have any questions, you can drop in your questions. Let me quickly take you through what we did today. So this is what we saw in the setup part. Identify a task process to set up approval for, then design the conditions for that task, design the list builder based on those conditions, select the actions, and then this is how your approval goes through. And this is a transaction flow basically. The transaction is entered in the system. We entered the invoice. Then, if we are having two level of approvals, it could go for the first level of approval. Transaction is submitted for approval and staged for a review. So the first level approver would have option to approve, reject, reassign. There are other options also based on the setup we have done. So in case that is approved, it is routed to the second level of approval. If it is rejected, then the transaction terminates there itself. Like in our case, it was rejected and the transaction was completed then and there. Similarly, for second level of approval, case one is approved, it is completed and submitted for further processing, like we can do the payment and other things. And in case two, if it is rejected, the same thing, the transaction terminates then and there. So this is what we have shown in the picture as well. First level, if you have second level and second level approver wants it to be revisited by first level approval, it can push back. You can see this thing push back, approve, reject, request for more information. So we are done with that. Hope you liked it. If you have any questions, you can drop in your question right now, and if you have questions later, you can drop your questions in these emails as well.
Great, Amit. I think it's like more than 2 hours session.
Yeah,
Over. So, guys, thanks for joining. I think it's a great appreciation. My whole I really appreciate you to Amit for this such a long session, and a patience for from all of you. You stay with us for all those 2 hours. I'm sure these 2 hours are productive. You must have learned something new. Even you looking all these things first time, then also, or you already working, then also it would be refreshing on some of the concept, right? So this is it for today. We need suggestion, like what additional topics you want us to prepare similar sessions that we can help you out. You can join our next session, which will happen on Tuesday, and that will be again a new topic, Oracle security. It is altogether different. So if you coming from EBS, PeopleSoft, JD Edward background, you will definitely going to learn new things there also. And that will be again same. It would be conceptual to hands-on session. So you will see end-to-end activities in there. And meantime, if you are new, then you join and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ritesh was asking that today we should complete our 1,000 subscriber. So if you guys subscribe, definitely we're going to touch that 1,000 mark. You can join on our WhatsApp group, Facebook group, Telegram group for our quick conversations, and any topic you want to discuss from that. You can join us our email list. If you go to our our blog URL was scrolling through that. So our blog URL is no-oracle.com, no-oracle.com. You can sign up our email list so you get all the notification in email also. For upcoming sessions also, if you go to YouTube, you have sessions already scheduled. You can just click on reminder, so you will get email automatically just before the session. So at by this, if there is no further questions, let's thanks very much to Amit. Ritesh, you there uh, right now with us?
So we have one question from Jay. Also, I would like to take up while going. So Jay, yes, we can have approval for Oracle receivable as well, but that is only for credit memos. Basically, at this moment, going forward, probably Oracle might come with other tasks also.
All right. Okay. So Ritesh, you take over now.
Yes, sir. So thank you, Amit sir. It's a great session, and thank you, sir, Shiv sir. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. You can reach us at no-oracle.com. You can follow us on Facebook, No Oracle, and follow our group, No Oracle. You can follow us on LinkedIn also, ERP, Oracle ERP Cloud Coach. So all links are available in description box. Thank you.
Thanks all once again for your patience being with us.